So now, before we went live here, we talked about wanting to talk about a couple of things. Like you told me a story about when you did before you did that, you had a deal where where you had somebody says like, yeah, I'll fund it, but then that person backed out at the last moment, and you lost the deal because of it because you couldn't get the funding done in time in between. So tell us about that one more time, and then also tell us what that has led into, and what anyone out there doing land deals and potentially working with people who fund deals, whether it's you or anyone else, what that would lead to in terms of like what the situation or how to avoid that situation.
Yeah, so I'll make a slight correction on that. It wasn't us that actually dealt with that. It was a land investor that approached us that was curious about how we fund deals and how we, you know, understand what we're investing in because they were left essentially at the altar. They got to the settlement day and the person just backed out or just had some bogus reason. So essentially, when I think of what a land investor should do to vet a land funder, number one, they should talk to a few of them, not just one, and interview them. Vet them just as much as they're going to vet you about the deal. They should understand, okay, well, what happens in 6 months if I don't sell the property? What type of communication do you expect from me on an ongoing basis? Am I the driver in the seat? Am I managing the deal? Or are you expecting me to let you have the reins from time to time? What is that? What is a passive investor like? What are the expectations that you have of me, and what are the expectations that I have of you? Um, I would also ask, what happens in this situation? Uh, what? Let's say that we instead of a cash offer, we got a seller finance offer, and are you open to that? How much capital do you have? All these different things that you should be asking them. It's not the funder that has, I mean, I think the funder has some control, but I really want to be not in the back seat because I think there's a negative connotation with being a backseat driver, but I think more so being in like the trunk, I would say, uh, just to guide the lane investor and give him my 2 cents if he's open to it, or if I feel like he's just driving us off a cliff or she's driving us off a cliff. But other than that, they're in the driver's seat. I'm not, we want to be completely passive. We want to help them as much as they need our help, but that's it. We are trying to find good operators that know what they're doing or are getting up to speed and are motivated. But I think, what else, Halie? What else do you think that they should understand about a funder?
No, I think that's, covered everything really. I guess, we've had a couple situations. We're always the type of people who are going to ask questions before something happens. So if we go into anything with anyone, we've had a couple experiences in the past where we're always going to say, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? So we just want to be fully prepared. So that's kind of how we look. And, if an investor comes in and asks all these questions, we like that because that's how we are. Obviously we would love for everything to go really smooth, but that doesn't always happen. And then, if we get to a stage where we do need to make decisions, we need to be able to work together. And so an investor is going to want to be able to work together and, get along with someone and be on the same page when they're making decisions.
So I'll give you an example. We had an investor that came to us with a deal, looked great on paper. And after we did our due diligence, we funded the deal. And it was, I think at the time we had a 6-month arrangement where basically after 6 months, we would have the right to be able to take over the property and then sell it on our own. And then the investor just wouldn't get any profit from it. Now ours is 12 months. So it's different. But we only use that. We only exercise that option if we have to. Like, I feel a little bit differently than maybe some other funders, and so does Halie on this, is that if someone is putting the time and energy to try to sell the property and they found the property, even though I funded the deal, they should really still be a part of the deal as long as they're communicating with me and keeping us up to date and strategizing and trying to figure out how to resell or sell the property. Because I had an investor that came to me maybe about 5 months in and said, "Hey, I don't, I'm a little concerned. We haven't sold the property yet. And I know that we're coming up on the 6 months." And I said, "You're hustling. You're trying to sell the property. Forget about what it says on paper. Let's just get the deal done. My relationship with you is way more important than any words on a piece of paper. And let's just get that. Let's try to sell it." And we strategized and said, "Okay, we don't have any drone footage on this property. Let's do that. Maybe we need to change up the broker that's on the property." So that's how we look at things. It's not, black and white from that perspective. And I think you have to be open to that.
No, but it's very important to understand going into a relationship, whether it's with you or with anyone else, that there is potential consequences because somebody gives you their hard-earned money to buy the property. Right?
Yeah.
This is not a game here. This is like you have somebody else come in, and that person now is either the lender or equity owner on the property, depending on which way you structure it. And that person has the right to take over the property, basically foreclose on it or take over after a certain time period if you can't give them that money back through a sale in this case. So this is important to understand, and important to understand the terms, and important to understand the people, and important to understand the relationship and those kind of things. That's all very, 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 very good and valuable information from that point.
If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also for additional training, just go over to the website listed in the description below.